players will bring, as we are going to head into the game, introducing these players.
Go ahead.
Thank you. In the bottom right, we have representing Team Fnatic, the blue Protoss. He is Ignite. And in the top right, his opponent, representing his own team, Team Grubby. He's the Dutch Protoss, Grubby.
First off, who's gonna scout who first?
Yeah, that's and especially in what direction seems to always be a bit of luck of the draw. You never really know where your opponent spawns in a 4-player map like Frost. I really think both players have actually been quite lucky. If we look at the respective series, from what I saw, a lot of players actually somehow managed to scout in the correct direction for no reason.
Yeah.
So we'll see if we get that again. Both players just doing well.
The last time Grubby played this map, I think, was against Hearthstone, and he actually didn't scout for very long, like choosing not to scout, not taking the risk of losing minerals, and then not finding his opponent.
Yeah.
And Hearthstone found him first, and Grubby still won the game. So maybe that's the correct way to go.
Yeah, of course, it really depends on your opener and the timing of which you actually get scouted. We see Ignite here being the first one to send out his probe, and depending on whether it turns left or right soon, I think it's going to go straight up to Grubby's base here. So he will be the first one to get actual info about his opponent's build. Fortunately for Grubby, he hasn't been, or at least hasn't decided to do anything, especially particular, something you can really read off of him. He's getting double gas. Cybernetic score timing is normal. It's essentially a mirror build at this point.
Yeah.
So what Ignite could do is try to respond, but there isn't really a whole lot to respond to.
Yeah, last time Grubby had the positions were exactly the same against Hearthstone, and Grubby actually didn't take a gas and went for an early gate, and probably was going to go for gateway pressure and then got scouted. This game, however, Grubby is just doing his regular thing and then gets scouted, but he doesn't have to change it up because he got scouted.
Yep, so we got Ignite's probe being a bit annoying, attacking these probes. Grubby doesn't want to take any additional risk, but this is just Ignite. He has time on his hands, he has spare APM to spare, so he's just going to spend this, annoy these workers, and it costs Grubby a little bit of mining time, but nothing too disastrous.
That's true. I'm wondering what tech we'll get to see. It's PvP, so nothing really happens until the cybernetic score zone. But Grubby Scout is going into Ignite's way, so...
Yeah. Both players getting the lucky coin flip, even though there's technically the possibility that they also scout cross map, but that seems to have really gone out of favor. It seems in 4-player maps. Well, the probe of Ignite is being driven into a corner here, it seems, and it gets away, forcing even more mining time off of Grubby. It's making an aggressive move with probes like that. Kind of seems to give your opponent the idea that you have something to hide.
Well, possibly, but then if he doesn't have anything to hide, like. It's not really a tell. The thing is, if you move your probes out to kill another probe and it doesn't work out, that's a bad feeling. And that feels good for Ignite, because he gets to have a probe on the map and possibly even make a proxy pylon.
Whoa, that probe by Grubby just managed to not get scouted by Ignite. A slight slip up here, because you could see that Ignite had the intention to actually scout his whole base with the mothership core, but he missed that tiny bit, which Grubby managed to exploit. So there is the possibility for Grubby to put down a proxy pylon here. Warp gate timing is about the same if you look at the production tab, but it seems Grubby is more focused on just making stalkers, whereas Ignite is actually going to go for a DT shrine.
Yeah, Grubby went for the 2-gate stalker opening, which is a safe build. I think this is Grubby thinking I'm probably a bit better, so I'm just going to play safe, or like that's how he feels. And Ignite's going Dark Shrine, and I wonder how it'll go. I mean, Shock did it 4 times, and it didn't go well for him.
No, not in the slightest. And the good thing for Grubby is that he does have a probe in his opponent's base, which is essential.
Great.
And it's just it takes a minimal effort to actually scout this. He's going to put a bit of pressure on the front here. He's going to see that there's actually a nexus here.
The thing is, though, the probe is making a pylon. He's not going to go in for the scout. He's trying to warp into Ignite's base. So even though he has a probe like ready to see the Dark Shrine, he might not even see it, and the Dark Templars might still kill Grubby, even though he has a probe.
Grubby going to lose a Stalker here, trying to move in away as far as possible so the rest of the Stalkers can actually contribute to this fight, but it will fall regardless. Grubby not really getting any of that. Trying to focus down the Mothership Core, almost managed to get it.
Oh, both of them got so low.
Yeah, really low. Okay, so the DT Shrine is about to finish. Grubby has built a Robo though, so he can get an Observer out, but once again, well, Grubby's actually being warping at the front. It is a nice aggressive move by him.
The DT is being warped in aggressively, which is interesting. This means that the Stalkers can kill a lot of probes and pick off the sentries possibly. But if he doesn't like start an observer right now, the DT is going to wreak havoc.
What's the DT doing right now? There is an observer on the way, and DT seems to be focusing more on the probes right now rather than the pylons. The second pylon already being added on in the proximity of the robo, so this observer will finish for sure. All Grubby needs to do to hold this off is do a defensive Stalker warping, and there we go, 2 Stalkers being warped in. DT still going for the probes, trying to kill as much as he can, actually getting quite a lot of them.
Yeah, in the end, this is still quite okay for Grubby. Grubby has 6
but he gets
Stalkers.
the Nexus.
Grubby has 6 Stalkers, and the probe count isn't devastatingly in Ignite's favor. But Ignite does have an Immortal, and Grubby doesn't have a way to get up the ramp.
Yeah.
So I think Grubby needs to expand here.
Yeah, he definitely needs to do something, but what we see here, okay, he's going for this probe, but there's still a pylon in his natural, so if he wants to expand, he's going to have to take care of that first. Like you mentioned, the Immortal is a pretty important unit in PvP. Like it plays well against almost every unit, except perhaps the Zealot. And yeah, this Immortal count for Ignite is going to rise. Grubby losing a Stalker there a bit unnecessarily. Just trying to micro up against this Immortal. Gets it to very low HP and passes shields.
Nice job by Grubby.
Nice force field here. Actually picks up this Immortal, which is a huge move.
With the Sentry warped in from the pylon in his main. That was beautiful.
Yeah.
That was thinking so far ahead. He knew that he was intentionally pulling Ignite out farther and farther, so that Sentry had time to walk to the ramp. And
Grubby is actually pulling Ignite on all fronts, almost doubling his supply and still, making aggressive moves there. They're defensive DTs now, but actually the Observer is doing a good job, and the Immortal of Ignite is just sitting idly in a corner while the Zealot is actually being fighting. Grubby seems to be really pulling Ignite apart, but his Mothership, of course, getting down to very low HP here.
Grubby is up 14 supply. He's going to pick up this Immortal slowly but surely once the other Stalkers join in. He has an Observer. This is looking so good for Grubby.
It is. He's going to kill this Immortal, and now he's going to stutter step away, trying to reinforce. The pylon is still up in Ignite's base, so Grubby can still warp in aggressively.
This is just terrible for Ignite. He doesn't have a Mothership core, so there's no Photon Overcharge for him, which means the Warp Gate numbers become so much more important.
Yeah. Ignite was trying to rebuild his Nexus rather than the focus on defending his base. I wonder if he even knows that there's a warping pylon. 3 Stalkers get up the ramp, more Zealots being warped in, heading into the mineral line. Grubby just guiding and stutter stepping here with his Stalkers. He does lose some of them, but the economic damage that's Ignite is suffering is tremendous.
It is huge. But Grubby does not have a Nexus.
And GG, it's
GG.
too much.